which would start right about here at the base of your thumb and go to the base of your middle finger there. So that's the bedrock of Ohio. And this one is Mississippian age. So I'd say this rock falls about the middle of your palm on the whole earth here, right? And this rock, which seems so old, is about right there. The age of dinosaurs. It was about 175 million years. People will debate that, right? Okay, so let's say 175 million years for the age of dinosaurs, and that goes from the base of your longest finger to go out to your end knuckle here. So about right there is the age of dinosaurs. So here's my question. How come there's no evidence of dinosaurs in Ohio? How come if the bedrock of Ohio was laid down here and dinosaurs were out here, how come we can't prove dinosaurs were here? Glaciers. Because there weren't any rocks being formed. You know, whatever rocks were being formed at that time have eroded away, because of all our bedrocks are this old. So the age of dinosaurs was after our bedrock. We can't. There aren't going to be any fossils here. How come you find so many dinosaur fossils in Utah? Newer rocks, yeah. The rocks in, at least where I go in Utah, their oldest rocks are the same as our youngest rocks. So their rocks are like this age. The same time that the dinosaurs were around was when their rocks were being formed. So their fossils got incorporated right into their rocks. Dinosaurs were probably here, but we can't prove it. The Atlantic Ocean formed about 150 million years ago. That's debated too. 30 million one way or the other. Which puts it right about the middle of the age of dinosaurs. So your second knuckle is about where the Atlantic Ocean formed. But when North and South America separated from Africa and Europe, it all used to be one giant continent called Pangea, and they started to separate again. So all those things that we think are so old are all out here. So that interesting. So where does that put us? I'm an old geezer.
Barely the blink of an eye.
Dirt under the fingernail.
If you go to your longest finger and your fingernail there, and you take a nail file and you go and file off 3/100ths of an inch of your fingernail there, you've just wiped out the human race. Every Homo sapiens that ever lived just went. So 3/100ths of an inch on. So what happened? What happened all here? If all these things that look so old happened out here on your left hand, what's happened to the rest of it? What was going on? Well, this is where the interstellar gases started to coalesce, and the sun and the planets and the Earth were formed out here on the tip. It's not a place you would have wanted to be. It was so hot you couldn't even stand up because the rock was molten, and you couldn't get under the shade of a tree because of the heat, because it was long before there were any plants. You couldn't go jump in a lake because it was too hot for there to be any liquid water. There wasn't even any oxygen to breathe. And there's a good chance that the Earth was being bombarded with meteors a lot back then. If you look at the moon, which has all those craters on it, which doesn't have any erosion, so their craters stay there. Our craters are long gone, but they stay safe for the first 500 million years. The Earth may have been bombarded by meteors a lot. Then about here, at your right palm, the temperature dropped on the surface, dropped below 212 degrees. So today's weather forecast, we have a cold front coming in. It's going to drop down to 210 tonight. So what happened? Here at your right palm, when it dropped below 212 degrees, what happened?
Water.
It started raining.
Yeah, didn't fall off.
It started raining. We live on such a remarkable planet where potable, life-giving water falls from the sky. We don't have to go mine water. We don't have to search for it. We don't have to manufacture it or grow it somehow. Water that keeps us alive falls from the sky. Isn't that amazing? Did you ever think about that? I try to remind myself of that on rainy days when I want to grumble. Wait a minute, this is keeping us alive. This is amazing. And scientists think that maybe it rained for centuries once it cooled off enough that water vapor could condense. Does everything sound okay so far?
You did a great job.
Oh, well, thanks. And then
For a botanist.
for a bottle. But rained for centuries, and that water then flowed down and filled up the great cavities on Earth and made our primeval oceans. About here we have the first, just outside your right elbow, first evidence of life. There's still no oxygen, so these are going to be really primitive cells without nuclei, as we know it, more like bacteria. Then scientists think that about just to the right of your sternum here was when the first microbes, cyanobacteria, blue-green algae, started carrying on photosynthesis. And so we get oxygen in the atmosphere then. They're able to take CO2 from the air and water and energy from the sun and put them together into organic molecules, and oxygen would be derived from that. And so oxygen starts to accumulate in the atmosphere. So it's been pretty hard for us to be around out here. So then we get, the age of trilobites, and we get the first land plants and the first animals, just to give you a feel for where the Earth's been. It's been a wild ride here. So.